In the studio, Bill Yam, Matt Cunningham and Dheran Young. Now, we know that we've been speaking for weeks about the concerns being raised by corrections staff when it comes to these legislative changes that were passed in Parliament, enabling private corrections, private contractors, I should say, to be utilised and officers from interstate to be surged in. Now, we know that we learned sort of towards the end of last week and early this week that corrections workers then overwhelmingly had a vote of no confidence for the Corrections Commissioner, Matthew Varley, calling for an immediate dismissal of him. On Friday, late Friday last week, we learned the United Workers Union had released the results of their no confidence vote, which said 98% of workers no longer trusted the leadership of the Territory's prison system. That poll of 519 correctional officers, 87% of the union membership found only 2% said they still believed in the leadership of Mr. Varley. Now, what was interesting, Bill, is they didn't deliver that result, as I understand it, to the Corrections Minister, Gerard Maley. They delivered it to you.
Well, actually, not quite, Katie.
Not quite, but did they converge on your office?
Yeah, they popped into my office in Alice Springs because I read the NT News article saying they delivered it to me. I said, well, hang on, I'm in Darwin. It's a bit hard. I didn't see anyone pop up on my doorstep in Darwin. But hey, look, the amount of no confidence motions I think I've seen in my years in corrections, I'd probably need a couple of arms and more fingers to count them.
Right.
Every time management within corrections does something that the union don't like, the first thing they tend to do is a vote of no confidence. I think there was a couple thrown around about me when I was a general manager in Alice Springs. I know that my colleagues had votes of no confidence, previous commissioners had votes of no confidence. So every time management or senior management of correction does something that the union don't agree with, the first port of call is a vote of no confidence. I've got complete confidence in Matt Varley, the Commissioner. He's doing a good job under some very, very trying conditions. He's trying to actually help correctional officers out. Now, I'm the first person to stick their hand up and say, if you try to bring security guards inside the jail to run it, you can't do that. And I'd be telling my colleagues that don't do that. This is not what's being put forward. These are suitably trained staff who have to probably meet the criteria certificate 3 to come in and assist corrections, because corrections for months, and all my mates in Alice Springs who probably don't like me very much at the moment, but anyway,
former mates
have been saying for so long, we're short staffed, we're overworked, the situation is dangerous because we don't have enough staff. Well, here's a way to get some staff in to help you out, to provide a safer work environment and give you a little bit of reprieve. And they're saying, oh, geez, no, we don't.
So do they just need to give it a chance, Bill? Like, do they just need to give it a bit of time? What do you reckon? I mean, you've worked in the system. The rest of us haven't.
And look, I said in a speech in Parliament the other week, because I heard all these people stand up, and all of a sudden they're all experts in corrections, and I got a bit grumpy about that. Until you've been on the coalface, short staff with a couple of it and looking after hundreds of prisoners, you don't get to stand up and instantly become an expert on corrections. If I had the opportunity to get extra staff in from wherever it happened to be back in the day to give the officers some reprieve and make the workplace safer, I would have done it. We've tried to do things over the years, and the unions have always opposed it. It seems they want the cake and they want to eat it too.
Well, why can't we find the staff? Like, we can't recruit the staff that we know. How many staff short are we? I know. Talking to Scott McNan a couple of years ago, he was like, we're 70 short, and he went to the government of the day with a proposal to recruit 70 extra and got knocked on the head. But
and even in Alice Springs, I know that they're up to 60 short just recently. That's talking to people on the ground. Look, there was some things didn't happen for a little while when corrections was under attorney generals. They didn't recruit for a period of time because they were using some wrong numbers at the end of the day, and that put corrections behind the 8 ball on recruitment. We've seen increasing prisoner numbers, which means you have to recruit, and I fought for years to get standardised recruitment happening every year. We knew what attrition was, we knew that we had to recruit X amount per year, but I couldn't get that over the line back in the day, and now we're in a position where they're scrambling to recruit. And now they're back-to-back recruiting. Because you've got to recruit to your new numbers, and then you've got to recruit to deal with attrition, and then you've got to recruit to your shortfall. And to do
and how long do you have to train for?
It's 3 months.
3 months of training.
Nearly 3 months of training. So you've got to do back-to-back recruit courses.
You get paid while you train.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you're not getting the full wage while you're trained, but I'll tell you what, the wage while you're on training.
What do you get?
Pretty good.
What do you get? How much do you get paid once you?
I don't think you get the consolidated allowance while you're in training, but once you come off the training course and go into the job, you get the consolidated allowance, which I think is about 36 or 37% now. So the wages are pretty
takes
good.
you up to what, 100 grand?
Oh, I think the guys are on over 80, 85, I think. I'd have to go back and check. I'm not sure anymore. But the wages now for correctional officers in the Territory, they were probably some of the worst in the country. I think we're back here up towards the top in the country, and we need to do that to get people to come here. Yeah. But we need to get people to come to the Territory and want to work. Lots of them want to come to Darwin and work. Sadly, we're not seeing too many people want to come to Alice Springs, which is unfortunate. But we've got the opportunity now to see a workforce to come in to provide that little bit of a reprieve and pick up some of those lower level jobs that prison officers are doing, so we can keep those prison officers on the coalface where they need to be, those highly trained people dealing with prisoners, and having other people out doing some of those escort work.
So the escorts is the main thing that you're looking to outsource? Is that the idea? You get someone like G4S to do the escorts? Yeah,
and look, it happens in other states, and I've seen it in WA and other states where it has worked. Look, they still have their problems, but it's the same as corrections. They have their problems doing escorts. So it works in other states. The capacity is there now to do it, but it's also working with police too. So it's not just corrections. It's also to pick up some of that police movement as well, and that of course frees police up to keep them on the ground and on the coalface doing what they need to do as well.
Look, I think this issue runs deeper than the Commissioner himself. We know that when this was first proposed, Gerard Maley, the Minister at the time, refused to meet with the corrections officers, and that's why we're in the bungle we're in now. I find it quite concerning that Bill Yarn, the Minister, is saying that, you're not the experts here, but yet this is a correction officers coming out and 98% are saying they don't have confidence in this process and privatising our correction officers. Leah Finocchiaro in 2018 came out and put a statement out herself saying that privatisation of correction officers is unsafe and dangerous, yet here she is coming back to say, we've passed these laws and it's okay now. So she's changed her tune again. But what's really concerning is the Minister again not meeting with correction officers to hear their concerns directly.
I was at a press conference this week where he said he did meet with the union this week.
Yeah, I was wondering whether it was going to be a bit icy.
But that was after the fact the bill's gone through. I mean, that's that should have been done well and truly before that. I mean, it's all well and good to go after, but
then there'd been some slanging, and then they met with each other. I thought that would have been an interesting one.
Same as the meeting between the Chief Justice and the Attorney General yesterday. I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall for that one.
Sure. But we're in this position with corrections, though, Katie, because of the mismanagement of corrections for the last 8 years. There hasn't been that investment in corrections, and I've said it time and time and time again. For every buck you invest in police, you've got to invest $1.50 in your justice system.
Well, that's not true. There's $300 million that we've invested in the last budget into corrections.
That was only actually given the money that they actually needed to do their job.
You've come through and rushed these pieces of legislation, which are now seeing a
I was there, Dheran. I've seen what Labor did to the budget in corrections. They cut the guts out of it. They shut down industries. All the good work that we did, Labor got in and just cut the guts out of
$300 million was put into the budget last year into corrections, and then you've come in and rushed through these pieces of legislation.
Because you realise, mate,
the implications that it's having there.
You dropped the ball for 8 years.
No.
We're going to take a bit of a break.